Maybe Maria is still getting back from our break real quick. So before we start, let me just, well, first of all, get an agreement since we start the recording. We're recording now. So can I get everyone's agreement that we can share this video publicly with a thumbs up? Awesome. Thank you, guys. Let me welcome Katie for being at her first executive team meeting. Great to have you here, Katie. Awesome that Katie is going to be leading the research team this week. So we're super excited about that. Yay, Katie. Thanks for doing that. We're excited to have you, participate at this level, with the team. So anything you'd like to share?
I guess I'm just super excited to have the opportunity to lead the team this week. So we'll see what we do.
That sounds great. Awesome. Yes, we're excited as well. Let's send, Mariana, can you send a quick message to Maria to see if Maria can join us real quick? Great. And Cassidy, just to let you guys know, she has an exam right now. So if she finishes early, then she's going to come and join us. But right now she's in the midst of that. So, okay, great. So we'll see if Maria can join us soon. Today, we're really going to, as we talked about last week, well, we never even had our meeting last week because of the holiday. And I realized pretty soon after that we were all just kind of in manage mode for the FDA, advisory committee meeting. And that is, for the most part, we're going to be in that mode, quite a bit again this week. So really this meeting I want to use mostly to, talk about, the coordination of what we're doing and to, take a look at what's on our agendas as teams to kind of keep the continuity, but a lot of our normal stuff this week is being backburnered for, managing what we're doing with the FDA once again. So any questions or comments about that? Did you connect with Maria Mariana?
Yes, she told me that she's going to join in a while.
Okay, great. Okay, so I guess let's dive into the agenda. So that actually is one of the other thing. Well, let's pull it up here. Okay, so so I went ahead and just kind of copied everything over from last week for us to adjust pretty much on the fly, unless you guys have gone in and made some. Oh, Maria. Oh, you didn't know we were having, hey Maria, how are you? You didn't know we were having our executive team meeting now?
Yeah, I was like, I have to join. I was lost. Sorry.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry you didn't know. I thought that you knew because you were in it 2 weeks ago. We didn't have it last week.
Yeah, that's true. That's why. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, got it. Sorry that wasn't clear. So, okay, great. So before we continue then, Maria, just can you give us the thumbs up to confirm? Thank you that we can share this video publicly. Great. Okay, so going back. So the first thing I put on the agenda here, just to mention to you guys, and I mentioned it a couple weeks ago, it was in the minutes, that we, the idea of the executive team is that the executive team is kind of like a board of directors, kind of looking almost like from the outside at the team, saying like what could be different, what could be better, how can things flow better, how can things work better, just kind of being like an objective observer as much as possible. And I want you guys to create the agenda, from what you guys think we ought to be talking about as a team. what are the issues there that we ought to be discussing. So, I didn't see, did any of you guys go in and work on the agenda? Because when I went in pretty late this afternoon, I hadn't seen anybody working on it. So nobody, okay. So I know, Katie, you didn't really know that. Mariana and Maria, I did mention a couple of weeks ago. So, what should have been on your radar, Tatiana, as well. I think you've done it a lot in the past, Tatiana, so I know that you're tuned in. I'm saying it now, this week, it's totally fine because this week it's pretty much just one thing. It's just the FDA, for the most part this week. But this is what, we had for last week. And we'll run through these things like quickly. We'll do a very maybe a 10-minute version of our team recap instead of a 30-minute version, something like that, just so we can all kind of, remind ourselves what's on our plates. But the main thing that we want to focus on right now is how can we align the resources of the team with what needs to get done for the FDA presentation. And in particular, looking at what our team hours are and then going ahead and, dividing things up appropriately. So I see, Tatiana, can you fill yours out now? James as well. Okay, great. You want me to share the link, Tatiana? Does that make it handy? Oops, I think they're wrong, but okay. That's the link. Okay, so going back, let's just look so that we're framing it, again, within what's available to us in terms of people power. So I'll just go down the list to see expected. So 10 hours from Isatu, 12 from Alexis, 4 from Cassidy, 10 from Johnny, 6 from Katie, 10 from Maria, 9 from Mariana, 20 from Reneja, 8 from Sabah, and 5 from Tatiana. So, okay, good. So, 94 hours is a lot of hours still to work with, right? So we have a lot. I know that it's down because a lot of people have midterms and that sort of thing. Last week we had 120. So, we're about, 1/4 down, which is fine. And we adjust, and we haven't talked about it a lot with this team, but just so you guys know, being the team leaders, that we know that you guys, we as an organization, I say we as an organization, me in particular, but the whole organization takes on this consciousness that we understand that you guys have exams, and you have projects, and you have things that you have to devote attention to in a week like this. So we expect that in the project. We don't, it's not a problem that that's happening. We're not, upset in any way that, you have exams. It's fine. Do whatever you need to do to manage your exams. So I understand, when we see the decreased hours, that's to be expected, in certain weeks like this, and that's fine. So we just have to deal with it. So we have to adjust. So we've got 36 for research, which is great. And we have, we're going to talk about the things we can do with that, which is primarily probably going to be around the experts, and in particular experts pertinent to the children's vaccine, which is going to come in front of the FDA. So for us to do some quick processing of a bunch of articles about that topic in particular, to see how many experts we can pull together in a short amount of time to be able to send them an email and invite them to take our poll about something, basically, right? So that's essentially what we're looking to do. And we're looking to, probably want to email the experts on Wednesday, I think is what we're looking at. Maria and Mariana, you guys feel that that's reasonable for the outreach team, that we're emailing the experts on Wednesday saying, hey, this is what we have. This is what we'd like you to do. So really, Katie, in terms of the research team, it's probably something where you and I will define it at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning, and then you'll send it out to the team, right after our meeting, if that works for you. And basically to get the team started working on it, like right from then. So we're not even waiting, to tomorrow night to start that new, whatever that research is going to look like, that's going to help us, reach out to as many experts as we can on Wednesday and Thursday and Friday. And, basically what we're doing, I know that Mariana and Maria, you just heard this before, but basically what we're doing is we're working on figuring out how to engage the experts, in this win-win exchange. And in particular, what can we do to provide an opportunity to be their voice, essentially. That's what we want to do with the Experts for Action platform in general, right? We want to provide a platform that lets experts have a voice about the things that they want to have a voice about, right? So right now, we want to find the experts that have an interest in having a voice specifically around this FDA consideration, right? And there's a lot of experts. I mean, every pediatrician in the country should have an opinion about whether they think that this is a good idea or not, right? And so there's that alone, right? Every pediatrician in the country. So again, maybe we could even connect with some pediatric association, like a national organization, and say, hey, here's a platform where your member, we can pull your members, and your members can make a statement, out in the news and that sort of thing, right? I mean, that's the thing. It could go to any stage or any scale. The challenge, as you guys know right now, is that we still don't really have the whole platform together on the website right now. So we're not at our fully mature version of ourselves and our platform and everything. So we have to figure out what can we do in the meantime, right? So Johnny was working on a Google form, Google survey. So I think that may be the way that we do it, because, experts are probably familiar with that format. We'll have to see. I'm not going to make any final decisions yet, but we'll have to see what it's going to look like. But it's got to look like something, and that's got to essentially be ready on Wednesday when we're sending this out, so that they can actually go ahead and fill out some poll or provide some response or something like that. So as I'm saying those words coming out of my mouth, I have no idea how that's going to happen right now. We're gonna have to find some time somewhere. Okay, so I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts. I'll just pause for a second just to hear what you guys think about anything that I'm saying right now. We're gonna see how long we can wait. This is actually something that, did I get it into the agenda? It's on my list, so I'm glad we're getting to it. So I'm creating a new expectation with you guys. I know we never had verbalized this before, but now I'm going to verbalize it. So you'll get to choose to agree or not. You don't have to agree, but I'm encouraging you to agree. Is that I want to have the team leaders set a new expectation amongst the team of what it looks like when I ask people for their thoughts and their feedback and their opinions. That actually, we're in the pattern right now as a team where most of the time, most of the team is not saying anything when I ask for people's thoughts and opinions and that sort of thing. And I want to have a project where it is made up of many people's thoughts and opinions and ideas. And that's very important to me. And I want to make sure that everybody understands that, because I've never shared that and verbalized that. And it made me realize that I actually have to create put this in like an orientation video and that sort of thing, so that we set all the expectations when people come into the project of what the project is like and what participation is like. So I get that I've kind of allowed this pattern to happen, and now it's just there across our project, and you guys were, you know, giving me the perfect example right there. So here's what I'd like to propose to you guys as leaders, if you're up for this, is whenever I ask for any input or thoughts or anything, that every leader is ready to give input at that point. Like they will give input, whatever their input is, whatever the best thing they can say in that moment is going to be. I may, you know, call on just one, I may allow just one or two, whoever of you will be the first ones to volunteer. One of you 4, 5 will be the first to volunteer. And then, you know, if I'm still waiting for more, then another one of you will. And then if I'm still waiting for more, then another one of you will. And at least all of the leaders will have provided their feedback, if not having other people jump in along the way. Maybe I'll stop it at just 1 or 2, so it won't get to all of the leaders. But I want to have all of the leaders ready at every time that it's ever asked, to be ready to put in their input as a leader, you know, to lead others and to show what it looks like to just offer your opinion. You know, somehow there's a fear or a concern, or I guess, you know, I shouldn't diminish it. When I was your guys' age, it was very difficult for me to talk in front of people. I was very shy. Growing up, I was super shy, super introverted. I was probably the most introverted person you ever would have met when I was all the way through high school, really. Near the end of high school, I started coming out of my shell more, started, you know, doing the whole party scene with my friends and all the football games and all the other stuff that, you know, we had fun with. So I started, but I was still super shy. Even when I went to college, like we had our fraternity meetings and I would be very shy even in that environment. That's when I started to kind of learn to have my voice. So I can understand that, especially some of you I know coming into the project and other people on the team coming into the project haven't had necessarily a lot of experience, you know, sharing what you have to say in front of other people and being put on the spot, so to speak, like that and everything. So I understand that this is a growth opportunity for you guys and a way for you guys to learn to get more comfortable in that environment. And it's something that I'm pretty sure that all of you, anybody really on the project, no matter what their career aspirations are, it's a value to everybody, right? To be able to speak when called upon or expected, or just, you know, not have to wait to be the first one in the room, right? To be able to be ready to provide answers. So anyways, are you guys up for modeling that behavior for the rest of the team and being willing anytime I ask for feedback that at least you will answer? Can I get everyone's thumbs up on that? Awesome. I appreciate that. Thank you guys for being willing to take that on. I think that's really great. So perfect. Okay, so then getting back, let me take a quick drink. So now, any thoughts or feedback? I'm not going to require all of you right now, but is there anybody now that will go ahead and say something?
I think that when you, sorry, Anna, but I think that when you talked about using like the Google Forms for Johnny, like starting that and sending that out to other experts, I think that would be a really good way. Or there's something called like SurveyMonkey, which is another platform where you can like survey people. So like you can get like their input through that. So
yeah,
overall, I think Google might be the best option to get that done because it's fairly easy to access. You can send it out easily. I think everyone has like a Google account, so it works probably the easiest.
Yeah, I appreciate that input. And it seems like Johnny is getting a pretty good handle on it. And we probably, Tatiana, we should probably have you and Isa2 interface with Johnny about it, you know, from a business team perspective, to have you guys like also be tuning into that platform if we're going to use that platform. So but I'm leaning in that direction right now, like you're saying. We'll just have to see. Yeah, at this moment, I think if we're sending something out on Wednesday, I'm imagining that's probably going to be the direction we're going to go. So I think part of it too is coming up with the questions. I really want to, this is where also I want to let you guys as the leaders, really have some say in what you guys think the questions ought to be that we're asking the experts. The thing that I think we want to balance is we want to ask as few questions. Well, we want maximum participation, right? And you guys know that maximum participation is almost an inverse relationship to length of the survey, right? So, we want to make it as short and tight as we can, at least to begin with, right? So I think to have a 5-question survey that is maybe 3 yes, no, true, false questions, along with 2 rate on a scale from 1 to 10 questions, possibly something like that. So that's a survey that they can complete in 1 to 2 minutes or something like that max, right? So then we can give them optional additional surveys where they can, say, the things, the areas that I think the FDA is getting it right are these areas, and the areas that I think that maybe they should do something different are these areas, or something where we let them free form their answer. But I want to make that like optional addendums, basically. We want to make just our baseline survey something like quick, easy. Okay, now that you've done that, now you can give us more in-depth stuff if you're interested, and then carry that through, because more in-depth survey leads to them actually creating their own content, posting their own content. We have to see, I think we can have that ready by, I don't know when, we might be able to have it ready by Wednesday, but at least for sure by, well, I'm saying next Monday, which is going to be before the presentation, but that's a little late for experts to start using it. We'll have to see how quickly we might be able to get the system up, but we want to give them the ability to share more, right? So we have to figure out, how do we give them the ability to share more? I think it's going to have to be some version of our experts for action system, as I'm saying it. But so that could be, their own content that they're creating, if they're a content creator. And so they can just post a YouTube video that they've already created for themselves. But then also, again, we're giving them the option of, us potentially interviewing them if we think that they're a good one-on-one interview for us, and or having them be a part of a panel video that we host. So panel discussion. So, if we hear back from a few and we think it, be good to get 3 or 4 of them together in a Zoom together to answer some questions, and we can do that. So those are the types of things that, we're going to kind of reach out to the experts with, in terms of the wins for them that we're offering. And then, basically our wins are their participation, and, modeling that this works, and showing the world that there actually are experts that do want to share their voices and that sort of thing. So, so any questions about anything I just shared? Okay.
I was just thinking that when you want them to a free form, you can possibly add a section that says any comments, and then you can put pose a question that's oh, do you have any comments regarding the FDA involvement, something like that, so then they can just write whatever they want there, and then we can probably extort that out.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Tatiana. Is yeah, we should put that in the minutes. And I'm just realizing that I never did the whole minutes thing or anything, did I? Is anybody taking minutes now? Ouch. Now that we're halfway through the meeting.
kind of taking minutes. I just started because I was like, wait, I don't think anyone has it, so I started it.
Thank you, Tatiana. I appreciate that. I'm sorry for having not doing it earlier. Thank you for doing that. So great. So can you put that in the minutes that we should ask them? You can write it since you created it well, that question about, what are their thoughts about the FDA approval process. We can ask them, or the FDA stance. We can ask them different questions. So I think that's where, rather than necessarily spend more time on the moment, we could come back to it if we want during this meeting. But maybe we should. What do you guys think? Should we figure out what our 5 questions are right now? Should we put that in the research team meeting? It's not really just a research team thing. What are you guys' thoughts about that? Let me hear what your thoughts are about us coming up with the questions now, or throwing it to the research team to come up with it, or what do you guys think?
I think it depends on actually the things that we are still missing on doing in this meeting. Like if we have time, we can cover that.
Yeah, that's a good point. We can get through the agenda first, and then we can come back if we still have time and go over it. So let's plan that. Let me put it down in our agenda here. We're not going to cover this stuff today. Okay. Okay, let's go through our abbreviated version of the team recap now. Does that sound good to you guys? You up for that? Okay, so I'm just going to go through here. So the HubSpot migration process has been completed. So it's really awesome. This is all of what was presented 2 weeks ago. So it's all, it's been done already. The career services offices, oops, I didn't look somewhere. The career services offices, where we're finalizing the templates, and we're sending emails starting tomorrow. So that's really great. Heard about that. So any questions about recruitment, or any comments about recruitment? Okay, I'll just say, I've had the, realization recently that we're really quite a ways through the semester already, as you guys know. And we really want to, in general, have as much crossover time. Some of you got to see that. Some of you benefited from Katie in particular, who had the most crossover time of anybody, to be able to, have, the 2 teams together for some overlap, so that you guys can teach the next generation, and they can start where you guys leave off and all of that. So we really want to start having those early people come on relatively soon. And we want the people that are perfect timing for Cassidy. Hey Cassidy, great to have you here.
Hey everyone, sorry I'm a little late.
That's okay. We're very happy. It's actually perfect timing, because we were just getting into recruitment, and we're actually still in the team report for recruitment. And I was just sharing something with them that I wanted to, you know, bring up in general. And you and I haven't had the conversation yet anyway, so it's perfect. So just before we get started, can we get your agreement that we can share this video publicly with your thumbs up? Awesome. Thank you. So I'll just finish what I was saying, and then you can share whatever you'd like, Cassidy, about recruitment afterwards. But I was just sharing how, you know, we always want to have as much overlap between the generations of students as we can, right? And we all benefited greatly from Katie in particular, who is, you know, had the most overlap. So we want to start having, you know, those people for next semester showing up, you know, as soon as possible. And, you know, actually Hannah was one of those people, because she was planning to be with us through May, as was James. So, you know, we already had some of that in place, but, you know, now it's changed. So now we have to find, you know, more new people that we can have as the consistent, you know. So it's a real urgency, which is part of why, you know, I mentioned to you that we're not going to back burner, you know, recruitment this week in favor. So, you know, just to share with you guys what I shared with Cassidy earlier, because she had asked me in a message if, you know, we wanted to devote recruitment's hours essentially towards the FDA this week. And I was considering it, you know, because we are shorter in hours this week and all of that. But for the reason that I'm sharing with you, that recruitment is really, you know, urgent now too. You know, we want to build up our numbers so that there's not as much that each of us has to do, that we've got more hands, you know, making lighter work. So we want to do that as quickly as we can, but also this continuity. And then also, you know, just to be able to have, well, I mean, it's along the same lines of what I was saying, just more pool of resources from which to choose from. So with that said, as I just shared with you guys, we're about to start sending out the emails. So let me just throw it to you, Cassie, let you say whatever you'd like to say about recruitment team for this week.
Yeah, I don't know how much I missed from when you started, but yeah, recruitment team, like we talked about, is going to be really pushing this week. We've been doing a lot of sort of behind the scenes work, and now we're gonna use all the work that we had. So we're basically just working on, tonight we have our meeting and we'll talk about like who can respond at what points, and we're going to create a schedule and finalize our emails and get those sent out so that we start connecting with career centers. We're also going to be working on putting a posting back up because ours expired on Handshake. So we had discussed that on Wednesday last week. And so we're going to continue with that and get that posting back up so that we can get students applying again. So yeah, recruitment is full force ahead.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Cassidy, for all the great work that you've been doing and that the team's been doing to prepare us for this. Tatiana, thank you for your work with that as well. So really great that we're there, you know, and we're ready to really take it now. So awesome. Cool. Okay, so let's jump back in. Okay, so business team, we were on Slack progress and time tracking system. So it's not exactly where we're at right now, but I'll let Tatiana share whatever you'd like to share, Tatiana, about our business team. And thank you for, you know, the great work that you and James and Isa2 have been doing. Been awesome.
Yeah, for the business team, we're just, you know, focusing on getting Slack rolled out, making sure everything's okay, and, you know, trying to send all the information that we can to other members so that they can easily start using it. And then meanwhile, for like the tracking system, where we went through a process trying to like look at every different resource that we use, like HubSpot tracking system, just to make sure, and Slack, and just to make sure that we're utilizing the best kind of resources that we can. So one of those was, you know, tracking time. We're just gonna look over, and in tomorrow's meeting, we're gonna come together and see what, I guess, like what everyone thought was the best tracking source. So that's part of what we're doing.
Yeah, great. Thank you for that, Tatiana. Thank you for the work that you and the team have been doing. That is good summary of what we've been covering and what we're doing. And I appreciate the work for the tracking time, which is important to be able to get that nailed down, and the other work that you guys have been doing, especially with the Slack. So I think all of you know, but I'll just mention it for the sake of continuity of things, that James let us know last week that he for different reasons outside of the team has to give attention to other aspects, to be able to take his withdraw from the team, at least for the time being, to be able to give attention to those things that he has to give attention to. So we really are sorry, and we're going to miss him for sure. He did a great job, blowing it up at the end in terms of leaving with a bang by presenting to the FDA. So that's really great. It's a challenge. We've seen it over and over again in the project, and I mentioned it a couple of weeks ago, but this was just another reminder for me, when James talked about having to leave, is that we have we are all faced with all different kinds of challenges in all kinds of different ways in our lives, right? And you guys, being so much younger than me and most of my contemporaries, we have been exposed to lots of tools and trainings and techniques for managing all these different aspects of our lives, both the normal flow of life as well as crises, and just dealing with things, and whether it's health or whatever. I mean, we're living in a world where we're all being challenged on a regular basis with whatever, right? And so again, I'm seeing the real importance of what we're calling at the moment Uniting for Action Academy, which will allow us to start to develop a whole network of professional coaches and trainers and psychologists and sociologists, and just all these different people that can be the top experts in the field, that can come in and tell us how we can manage everything in the best ways possible to be the most healthy, optimum performing team, right? Made up of healthy, optimum performing people, right? And so I think it's gonna, I'm eager to get it in, and I'm starting to have conversations with some of my friends about that. So, I just mentioned it again because, what James is experiencing is something that we can all experience anytime. And, he's just one of many, many, many. I mean, all of us have dealt with stuff. So it's just a matter of, so at this point, I think, I just want to mention it in the context now of you guys being team leaders, is to be very, sensitive to all of that for your team members, and that we, it's on our minds. And I'll just actually going to share one other piece, because it is actually, now that I think about it, it's not a little piece, it's a big piece that we have to cover in our meeting. So let me put it on the agenda. Is we have to cover the reframing of our neutrality that I've talked with some of you about. Okay, so that's something that we definitely need to spend some time on as an executive team and get into alignment around. So the way that I want to look at it at the moment, just we can wrap with this and then move on to other things, is that I think that as an organization, we can declare certain areas that we are seeking mastery in. And, somebody can choose to seek mastery just as a beginner, right? But they're making a commitment as a beginner that they want to carry this through all the way to mastery, right? And so I think that we as an organization can say that we want to we want to strive towards a degree of mastery and how to support, anybody involved with the team and the organization in all aspects of their lives, in ways that they can be top performing and that they can learn. Not only do they, again, have the internship to learn the academic stuff and see how the stuff they're learning in the classroom applies to the world and all the academic reasons that you guys show up. You can have all of that, and you will have all of that in your experience through Uniting for Action. And simultaneously, Uniting for Action will be providing personal development training program that runs coincidentally with it, that allows you guys to learn and practice all of these techniques that are life skills for you guys to go out into the world in. And in many ways, it will become like best of class, because again, we're inviting the top experts in the world to be the ones to come in and help create this, not just for you guys, but for the whole. We've talked about where we can grow with this, with hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of students, and not just students, but how we're open sourcing the whole project to the whole world. So then again, part of our exchange with the world can be when you're donating your time, when you're doing these micro tasks, when you're doing something to contribute to the project, that gives you access to all of these trainings and all of these tools and all of this, whatever that can help you be a better person in whatever you're doing, type of thing. So you guys get, again, this whole layer of just like, maximum personal potential development, essentially, really, again, it's just a matter of us creating win-wins with the faculty or whoever we want to have show up to provide that, right? And just like anything else, it'll be some percentage of those, prospects of people out there that are doing coaching, training, whatever, that see the vision, that see the opportunity, that see the platform that we're building, that see the, level of popularity that we could get to, and say, hey, I want to take a ride with these guys. I love what they're doing. Who here has gotten to see the top 5 breakthrough video yet? Ariana, Tatiana, okay, not the other 3 of you yet. Okay, it's okay. I know it was late. It was showed late still today, but basically to have people be interested in supporting what we're doing because of what we're doing in the world, right? And some of those people being, somebody, let's just say like a Tony Robbins or somebody like that, that says, this is awesome. This is what we want to be doing. Let's put, some support into this and let's blow this up. And really, to me, I think you guys understand that things like that, insert name here, whatever the influencer is, whatever, the tools they're bringing to the table, to me, it's just a matter of time. It's not like an if, it's just more a matter of when. And because I feel like what we're building is going to become, the de facto system for society, just because it's so much better than anything else out there. And we're starting to get our ways of describing it much better. We're still like taking baby steps with it. We're not even crawling yet, honestly, in terms of how we're describing it. But I'm not going to play the whole video, but let's play the first minute or 2, because it's an important part of what we're doing as a team right now. And so I want to have a quick conversation within the executive team about the ways that we're starting to present ourselves to the world in a different kind of way. And what you'll see with this video is you'll see that I'm making a real attempt to understand what works on television, for example, and other video formats, social media influencers and that sort of thing. I want us in the longer term to, as we bring on the talent for all the video production and all that sort of thing, that we're really producing high level stuff. Again, I mentioned names. You guys can look and see, you know, like John Oliver is somebody I really like. Did any of you watch John Oliver ever? Last week with John Oliver, HBO a little bit. So, you know, he's an example, you know, the way Seth Meyers, I don't even know what he's calling it now, but the way he's done stuff in the past, and Jon Stewart, you know, going back in time, and, you know, any of the late night. So anyways, this will just give you an idea of like taking the concept of like top 5 list and even like presenting it in that kind of concept to be able to find ways to package our content in a way that's really consumable for people, right? Like familiar to people, like appealing to people, like in certain ways, like the top 5 list is playing on psychological principles that have nothing to do with what the content is, right? It's just like a way of packaging things that you create engagement, and you create suspense, and you create anticipation, and you know, you get what I'm saying? Like without these kinds of techniques, like how do we package our 7-minute video in a way that somebody's going to want to watch all 7 minutes, right? So anyways, I'm just mentioning it because these are the conversations coming up in the outreach team and the production team, and this is where we're at, you know, right now as a team. So also I may tonight edit this video. I may reshoot the audio, the presentation. I may not, I'm not even sure where I'm going to go with it yet, but here you guys can see where it's at. But adding visuals is a for sure. We will be adding visuals, whether it's this version or an updated version.
Uniting for Action is setting a course for us to sail to a much brighter future than the one we're headed towards now. In this video, we're going to show you our top 5 breakthrough systems that together will allow us to create the best future we're collectively capable of. Coming in at number 5, and perhaps our most intuitive and obvious solution, channels. If you want any information about anything, wouldn't you like to just change the channel to the channel of information you're looking for? With all the articles, videos, research, and data all in one place? Of course. It's what most of us have been dreaming for during the whole pandemic, just to know the answers to questions about the virus, masks, vaccines, and on and on and on and on. But it's not enough just to have everything in one place. We also want to know what information we can trust and what recommendations we should follow. And that's where our number 4 breakthrough comes in, our Experts for Action platform. This is where you can.
So you guys get an idea of it, of the ways that we're starting to package up, you know, what we're presenting and that sort of thing. What do you guys think, especially those of you that are just seeing it for the first time, what do you guys think of the format of like the top 5 and then the ways that we're doing it, the big numbers and everything? You guys like that? Yes, Cassidy.
I think like conceptually it's a really good thing to do, to put it out there, that like our branded system, I guess.
So you like the packaging in particular is what you're saying, Tatiana, or the idea of doing a top 5, or?
Yeah, like when I was watching the video, I really like the concept of like us showing like how we stand apart from other organizations and how, like, I don't know, how great we are.
Yeah, like we've like, and that's the thing, is that we're gonna have, there's more breakthroughs that I have in my mind to present than a top 5. I'm going to start filling up the site. We're soon going to have like at least 10 or 20, because we have like that many breakthroughs that we're bringing all at once, actually. So that's going to be part of it, is that the fact that we can have a top 5 list, right? Like of all of our awesome breakthroughs, like here's our top 5. Like, yeah, I appreciate that. I like that concept too. Cassidy, Katie, either of you want to say something?
Yeah, I definitely like the idea. My brother always calls them clickbait, but hey, clickbait works. So, you know, why not lean into it?
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Yeah, we have to play the game of what's being played, right? We have to learn how to flow with what the kids are doing these days, you know. So yeah, okay, good. I'm glad you guys like it, and we'll keep kind of playing with it. And it'll be great when we get, you know, people that are like doing this, like going to school for this, you know. And that's the thing, we need to start recruiting those people right away. We're going to start recruiting all these different people and start getting all this talent to be able to do these things, and even like on air talent, right? So it's not just me that's saying it, that we've got other people. Speaking of which, if any of you have any aspirations along those lines, it might have, you know, mentioned in the past, or maybe when we interviewed or something like that, but I'll throw it out there again, that anybody that has an interest in delivering information, being, you know, on camera, sharing, that sort of thing, definitely let me know, because we want to, you know, cultivate some other faces, you know, other than mine, and especially students and that sort of thing. So, and we've done some of that in the past. I mean, you guys have seen some of just like the testimonial videos on the website, but there's also been times where like Mustafa created a video of information, and we've done other things like that in the past when students have presented things. So, okay, so I think we've covered what we want to cover with that. Anything else that you guys want to say about the specifics on the outreach there, and the ways that we're you know, presenting now a little bit differently than we have been? The structure also, as you guys kind of alluded to, is a little bit different now, where that was a thing, I like broke it into like these discernible breakthroughs, right? That are kind of like a bite-sized piece of what we're doing essentially. And even though we're in the end, we're gonna have 20 or 30 pieces to show people, like they can just focus on one if they want, and there'll be a page for that and a video for that, and a separate like 2 to 5 minute video for each one of these breakthroughs and each one of these different things. And I think in my mind now, you guys tell me what you think, but in my mind, when we talk about it in a breakthrough term, in a way, maybe this is kind of what you were getting at too, Tatiana, in a way, we are like saying that it's a breakthrough, right? Like we're letting people know, like we're creating these breakthroughs, and we've got like a whole handful of breakthroughs here. And so we're able to almost like subconsciously have people like, you know, like getting used to the idea that we're bringing breakthroughs to them, right? Like that we're creating breakthroughs. It's almost like the power of suggestion, right? Like we're creating breakthroughs because we say we are, you know, type of thing. There are no droids here. These aren't the droids that you're looking for. So the thing about it is that I think, let me just think where I want to go with this real quick, because I want to wrap it up and move on to what's next. So I think let's just, well, did anybody, I kind of cut you guys off again. Did anybody want to say anything else about the video or how we're presenting or anything like that right now? Nope. Okay, cool. So I think again, right now, you guys were seeming to nod your heads when I mentioned the breakthrough, like describing it as breakthroughs, because before I was kind of trying to think about it as a process, right? And I was trying to think about like the process that we're doing and the systems and that sort of thing. But I think describing it in terms of breakthroughs, again, makes it a little bit more tangible and more digestible to people. Do you guys agree with that? Yeah. Okay, good. So let's think to, I'll just plant the seed for you guys. Think about other ways, other paradigms of describing it other than breakthroughs. What are other, you know, words we can use to describe things that we're creating or things that we're doing or whatever? You know, like not just top 5 breakthroughs, but top 5 what? You know, so I don't even know what. Does anybody, let's try to figure out at least one other concept so that we can walk away like mulling it in our head. So who has a concept of something other than breakthroughs that we can be showing what we're doing.
Innovations.
Innovations, okay. I like that. I like that. Yep. Let's write this down. Who's doing our Tatiana minutes? Okay, so we got innovation there. What else? What are other dimensions that we can use to describe? You guys coming up with anything? Anything coming in your head? If there is anything, you must say it. Nothing? Okay. So, okay. So we'll keep working with it and see if anything else comes to mind in terms of ways to present. But at least we are off to a good start now with this new. And what I want you guys to do, each one of you, and so this is along the lines, and maybe we have to make a separate agreement for this. So the sharing that I mentioned before was, I used the specific example of in our meetings, right? When I'm asking for feedback. So that's when you guys are going to be ready to jump in. Oh, you weren't a part of that, Cassidy, were you, of that agreement? Okay, so you'll have to watch the video later, Cassidy, and then let us know if you agree as well. So, so I think similarly, like when, you know, I'm asking for feedback, like about a video or something like that, that you guys will all commit to providing your feedback within some period of time. Let's say within 24 hours of when I ask for the feedback, that you guys will provide feedback, you know, barring some, you know, different, like exam or some other, you know, extraordinary circumstance that makes your normal 24 hours different. So barring, you know, challenging circumstances, that just in a normal 24 hours that you will reply when asked for feedback through the WhatsApp chat. Does that work for you guys? And then you guys can decide, you know, how much feedback you provide and all of that. But just again, so that you're showing leadership to the others and they're seeing at least your names in the document and they're seeing the feedback and the different, getting the different ideas and all of that. So, okay, great. Thank you guys for agreeing to that. That's awesome. So I think again for that, just give me your feedback, you know, that I put in the chat just to show you guys if some of you didn't get a chance to see it yet. We'll wait till it comes up here. So the video that I just showed you, it's a 7-minute video now, and I created a Google Doc so that once you watch the video that you can use the Google Doc to provide your feedback. And so that's in the full team meeting chat. And this is the Google Doc right here. So when you go to the Google Doc, it's got the link to the video. And then it also has just general comments about the video, but in this section, you can put your name next to it too, so that, you know, everybody knows who put the comment. So put the comment, put your name next to it. Then you've got the 5 different breakthroughs. So if you got specific feedback about, you know, the different breakthroughs, the different sections of the video, then you can go ahead and say it. I forgot to bring this up in the outreach team meeting, so I'll just bring this up now quickly. We need to kind of decide as a team if nano actions is the term to use. Any questions about the feedback that you guys are going to provide? So the thing about that, in terms of the feedback for that right now that I was just showing you the video, is that it's either going to be tonight, it's probably going to be like early in the morning. It's probably going to be like 1 or 2 or 3 or whenever I can get up this morning to start working on the new version of this video. That's again, I'm at least going to be working on visuals for the video. I may be working on editing, you know, the existing video, or I may be working on reshooting, you know, parts of it at least. I think it's probably most likely editing. So any feedback that you guys are able to provide tonight is feedback that I can use, before I start editing at 2 in the morning, let's say, or something like that. Okay. So if any of you, let me give you guys the link here just for convenience sake. So again, I know it's shorter notice this time, so you're excused if you're not able to do it tonight, but I would ideally love to have all of you guys providing some feedback tonight if you're able to. So there is the link. Don't spend a lot of time on it, though, because we have a lot to do this week, and I know most of you have less hours than you normally have this week. So, maybe spend, 15 minutes on it, maybe like 30 minutes max, something like that. Sound good? Okay, perfect. Okay, great. So thank you for that. All of you, appreciate that. Okay, so let's get back to our agenda. We're already an hour into our meeting, so let's see what we can do to speed up and make sure we're getting through everything. So I'm going to go back into the team. We're going to talk about reframing our neutrality. We need 10 minutes for that. Do you guys mind if I jump to that first, just so we can get that out of the way, because I want to make sure that we cover that. Does that work for you guys? Okay. So some of you have heard this already. I think most, I'm not sure who hasn't heard it. Who knows what I'm talking about when I'm talking about reframing our neutrality through expression rather than repression? If you know what I'm talking about, then raise your hand. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then you do too. Okay, so all of you have heard it now. Okay, so, and I did bring it up at the team meeting on Thursday, didn't I? So, okay, so are you guys, I guess the team is pretty much in alignment, but I want to, with the smaller group, have you guys share with me any thoughts or concerns or questions that you have about the idea of it, because it is going to be kind of revolutionary. I mean, this is another breakthrough for us, right? Or innovation, or whatever you want to call it. But this is another one of where we're going against the grain. And it has some pretty significant implications. And that's the thing right now, is that the biggest implication about it is that, let me take a quick drink. It may make corporations and foundations and others that we're asking for significant financial backing. It may, I mean, yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, we'll do everything we can to try to not make it this way, but you can imagine that when, corporations and all these different entities are being super sensitive about who they're being associated with and what messages are getting put out there and all that sort of thing, that when we're being an organization of self-expression and all the different entities, all the different members are, that, corporations could be concerned that their brand could get associated with something that spins out in the media associated with our organization, right? Like, this is not like the safe way to go anymore, right? The standard that I'm wanting to create about it is I'm wanting to have this be such a great, well-received concept, that people are super excited to be a part of a place where they can say anything they want, anytime, obviously excluding hate language or anything like that, discriminatory language or anything like that, but just, just freedom of their expression and being that, having people, students on the team, people working, as a part of the organization that have all kinds of different views that, normally would be at odds in society, so to speak, but we're able to come together here to all work on creating systems that serve everybody, right? And we can all agree and align around that. And that's the neutrality part, right? The neutrality part is that we're all working together to build systems, to build models, that the models themselves don't know what the issues are, the models work the same regardless of what the issues are. Having said that, there actually is some, we're going to have to figure out how to really deal with the algorithms around that, because algorithms will provide, play favorites to more popular things and that sort of thing. So we do actually have to, there will be some kind of reckoning of how we actually do have the algorithm keep a sort of neutrality or that sort of thing. It's actually more than neutrality. It's going to be more of like self-programming, where people get to decide for themselves what sources they trust and what they want and all of that. So anyways, I don't want to get into the weeds on the technology right now. I just want to more, make sure that there's an alignment amongst you guys, amongst the executive team, especially as you've digested it over the weekend and have, that there's no unease on your part or concerns or any questions lingering. So who has any, questions, thoughts, any things that you guys want to say about this?
I have a question. Regarding this, would we, I guess, adjust the way we present ourselves to these entities? Like, I know you're saying corporations and things like that. Like, how would our messaging come across? So like you said, there isn't sort of a concern for somebody aligning themselves with us with almost unknowing the opinions, I guess, of all of the members as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, right. So that's, yes, so that's a good question. So I'm trying to do my best, and this is where it needs to be an ongoing conversation amongst all of us, of decoupling each one of us as an influencer in the world and the systems that all of us are coming together to create. So that's kind of the way that I'm going to frame it, right? Is that any influencer can come along and because of their influence, use these systems to have a whole bunch of people do stuff with them, right? Taylor Swift says, hey, everybody go do this. And then, a million people go do that, right? I mean, that's literally what happened with voter registration. You guys might recall in last election, right? Like literally the voting registration was increased by, and that was like a perfect example because like I'm going to go too far into the weeds. You guys get the idea, is that the system is there made available for any influencer to do whatever they want with it. I'm going to do my best, to kind of keep framing this conversation that I'm just another influencer using the system, and that any ways that Jared is using the system is any way that anybody else can show up and use the system. And that, whatever I'm doing with it, with all of you guys, is anything that anybody else could do with the system, right? And that essentially, like, in a kind of crude respect, it's almost, there's an analogy that like you guys are my followers kind of stuff. We'll have followers, but you get the idea of it, is that you guys are, I'm putting an idea out there, I'm using the system, and then you guys are agreeing that this is an idea that you want to participate in. And this is essentially how people will use the system, right? Is they'll say, hey, I have an idea to do this, here's the whole idea. People will start popping up and say, I like that idea, I'm willing to do that. I like that idea, I'm willing to do it. And then the system basically, they define, I'm going to need 100 people to say yes to this, and I need like a 50% reliability metric, and so then I'm going to know that like I'll have 50 people out of those 100 or something, essentially, right? And then they're recruiting their 100 people, they're all in the system, and then once they're in the system, then they all execute their project together. This is kind of where we're going in the more advanced stages of what we're going to be building out in the future, is just the ways that people can define projects, define the micro tasks and all of those sorts of things, and then be able to, they're nano actions now. I don't know if we'll have time to get into that, but define all of the nano actions. And then, once everything is defined and everyone's plugged in, then you have the critical mass you need to execute, and then you execute, basically, right? So in a way, what we're doing is we're using the Vaccine Considerations Project, for example, as like a a model again of using the system of getting a whole bunch of people to agree, hey, I want to work on this with you together, and then we use it. And so we show that this is a way that the system can be used. So again, it's a little bit of a tough sell when I'm both, you know, an influencer using the system and I'm the founder of the whole organization, and I have a certain like different influence on the organization than others do. So it's like I said, it's going to have to be an ongoing conversation. I'm not sure exactly how we're going to sort it all out, but what I do know, and this is why I'm willing to be in the sorting out of it, is that it just feels so much better for me to feel all of this self-expression of society coming out and having a channel and having a place for it to come out, that I'm willing to risk all of the corporate support and all the other support in the short term, I want to say, because I feel like what we're going to do, again, even if the bigger corporations won't sign on as early as they would have otherwise, I think we're going to create such a great model and such an example that others are going to want to follow, that very soon certain corporations that are willing to take more of a risk are going to say, like, we want to be, this is like awesome, you know, like they're going to get the whole like gist. And so with those, we're going to be able to build something. So maybe we're not going to get, you know, the Nikes and the Apples and everybody as soon as you know, in the beginning, like we might have before, if we had just kept a lid on it and not opened our mouths as much, so to speak, you know what I mean? But I think in the long run, this is the way as a society that's going to be a healthier way for society. And so I think that we can just, you know, start creating that model and show the world what it looks like. And I think in the end, that's going to be another, you know, awesome breakthrough and innovation to share with the world. So what do you guys think about that? You guys agree? You see any pitfalls? You see any challenges? Any things that we ought to be thinking about that maybe I'm not thinking about?
I guess my only concern is that we should probably set a standard. So just in case somebody decides to say something that could be like dangerous, I guess.
Yeah, and that's a very good point. And that's where I've mentioned before, but maybe not all of you have been in on those conversations because it's only popped up at certain times. So let me just show you very quickly that when you go to unitingforaction.com and you scroll all the way to the bottom, now this is, admittedly, this is our terms of service for the website, but what you're saying, Katie, is we need to actually expand this, you know, for the whole project, like everyone involved in the project in all sorts of ways. So I appreciate that you're bringing that up, but I want you guys in your leisure time, whenever you want to go check this out, because it's pretty long. I spent quite a bit of time on this a couple of years ago. But here's the acceptable use section. Get to this acceptable use section. So this gets to be like a model for us of what we, you know, like we're saying, you agree not to post or provide links or transmit any information through our service which infringes on the rights or violates privacy and protects copyrights, is false, misleading, not relevant, is commercially, is unlawful, vulgar, obscene, profane, all of that. And then objectionable content, it gets into objectionable content, which includes, is not limited to, but includes sexual material, portrayal of violence, abuse of profanity, illegal activities, engaging in illegal activities, threatening, abusive, defamatory, all of that. And then it gets into bullying and discriminatory and all of that sort of stuff. So I just want you guys to know that we've got like a whole foundation of all of this. I spent quite a bit of time, you know, making this pretty good, this section here, that, you know, it's pretty comprehensive of all those types of concerns. So now we just have to, you know, take some version of that and put it into our handbook, you know, that people agree to when they sign up with the project. And that's, I think, essentially what you're talking about, Katie, right? In terms of making sure that whoever is participating in the project is also agreeing to all of these real specifics about code of conduct, basically, and interacting with other people and all that sort of stuff, right? So does that cover it, Katie, or any other thoughts or questions? from anybody about that now that I've kind of showed you guys all of that? Okay, so, okay, good. We're getting near the end because we're gonna have our recruitment team meeting at 7:30. So we've got like 7 more minutes. So let's dive back in. I think we'll have enough time just to wrap up the team reports. So anything else then that you guys want to talk about or cover as we're wrapping up? We mentioned that we have the brainstorm question, so it looks like we're going to have to continue that in the chat. But definitely, you guys, because we want to essentially finalize on those tomorrow, right? So that by Wednesday, we want to put the whole Google form and everything together. I'll have to check with Johnny and make sure he has time tomorrow, but we basically want to finalize the Google form and send it out on Wednesday, essentially, right? So whatever questions you guys can think of that you think ought to be in there are good questions, you know, in particular, that we can present the results of at the FDA advisory committee on Tuesday. That would be like ideal, right? Like if we can send something out on Wednesday and we get like a significant amount of participation and we can have like, maybe let's say like 50 respondents or something like that by Tuesday, that we can, you know, on Tuesday say, hey, you can go on our website right now and see what these 50 experts, you know, have to say about this. But that would be awesome, right? So that's kind of what we're, you know, ideally trying to create in this scenario. So in that scenario, you know, think about what you think, you know, are questions that the experts would want to answer, to want to have in front of the FDA, to want to have in front of the publicity that, you know, we may generate around this. So again, what questions can we ask that are going to encourage a higher participation level from the experts? I think are probably our best questions, right? Just to make it look, you know, most you know, used. So, okay. So anything else about that? Any questions, comments about that? Okay, so we'll do that in the chat. Any suggestions you have, please share it there. Let's go back in quickly, and I apologize for production and research for kind of getting squeezed here a little bit, but let's pretty much shared, I think, enough with you guys about outreach. Let me just say that, you know, for the outreach team, well, actually, let me give Mariana a couple minutes to share. So Mariana, I hate to be so short, but can you keep it to like 2 minutes max?
All right, so on the outreach team, last week we've been working on the FDA, and this week we're also going to be working on the FDA. We're going to be reaching out to the media and to the experts. So we're going to compose the emails, and so we're going to be able to reach out to them like in time this week. And yes, that's what we're working on right now.
Perfect, great, very speedy. Thank you so much, Mariana. I want to mention that I asked Mariana if she would stay on another week as the outreach team leader, and she agreed. So thank you very much, Mariana. It's really great. Super excited to have you continuing as the outreach team leader. And so, yeah, the main things I'll just put in here and then we can move on. So the outreach team, it's the FDA clearly, as we're hearing, and that includes the experts, and that includes the media. And then we also have the top 5 video, another part of our outreach. And so those are the main things that we're focusing on right now, which is great. So for production, for the new videos, well, we still have all of this still in the works. Student team videos, this is not on our radar at the moment, as that's been on the back burner. So leave that off for now. We do need to get back to that as quickly as we can. We are putting the new website pages together, the team pages, the explanation of concepts. So all of this is all still what we're doing in production right now. Plus, you know, again, the FDA, as you know, is the main thing. The thing that we're talking about, maybe, well, I won't even get into that now. I think that's gives you guys enough of an idea. Any, oh, I shouldn't say, totally spacing. I'm feeling like we don't even have a production team. Now we have a production team there. Maria, please go ahead and share what we're doing with the production team. I'm forgetting that you're even here. I apologize, Maria.
No, it's okay. We have not had the one-on-one meeting, so yeah, it's kind of like saying what is on the Google Doc, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We haven't had a chance to connect about what we're going to be talking about and what we're going to be doing this week. Yeah, so I apologize that you haven't had the prep with me. I haven't had a chance to, connect with you about leading for another week again. We'll have to see if we can set up a meeting tomorrow before the production team meeting. So yeah, you can share whatever you're able to share in this moment. I know that I haven't set you up to make it very easy for you. I apologize.
No, it's fine. Don't worry. So yeah. So we are doing the new videos with different aspects of the project, like experts for action, information for action, and yeah, the vaccine considerations project. Also, we are doing the website, so like focusing on the outro and intro and the editing of it, all of that. And yeah, that's basically it. And
Yeah.
obviously the FDA.
Right. Yes. Thank you, Maria. I appreciate that. And I apologize for being so disorganized around that for you. Let's have, I know there's not a lot you can say, Katie, but let's give you the opportunity to share whatever you'd like about, what you're looking forward to this week with the research team, even though we haven't had our one-on-one yet either. So Katie and I are going to be having our one-on-one tomorrow morning. But I think, just from what I shared with you guys before in terms of, we'll use the research team, at least in part, to see what experts that we can add to our database that are specific to the pediatric question, the kids getting the vaccines, that's going to be in front of the FDA. So that'll certainly be at least a significant part of the research team's work this coming week. And then Katie and I will talk tomorrow morning about other aspects that might make it on, our agenda of what we're going to be covering. But Katie, is there anything that you would like to share about the research team, or what your thoughts are about, leading it, or what you'd like to accomplish during this week while you have the opportunity?
Yeah, I guess continuing to help with the FDA presentation is probably going to also be a big part. And obviously entering the contact information for the experts that we do have already is probably going to be another priority we should focus on as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Those major things.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought, and I guess we're going to have to look, I thought we had finished that up or almost finished that up, but I never checked to see where we're at with the contact information for all of the experts. So yes, you're right. If we don't have the contact information, we definitely need to get on that. So thank you for bringing that up. Let me make a quick note of that to check on that early on. And one second.
Yeah, I just know that I haven't had time to add mine in yet, so mine might not be done.
If you don't have yours done, then I don't think, then I think we're in a totally different place than I thought we were. You would normally be the first one to have it done. So let me make a note. Okay, the last thing I want to say as we're wrapping up is first, I just want to take a moment to acknowledge and thank Katie for the great job that Katie did on her FDA presentation last week. So it was pretty awesome that Katie jumped in and did that, and yeah, was able to do such a great job, and very exciting. And as I shared with Katie the other day, really setting a model for other students and showing, kind of the world what students can do within our project. So it's really, really great. I'm really excited about that. And just want to take a moment to thank all of you for the great work that all the teams have been doing lately, and especially last week as we all kind of pulled it together for our championship week. So let's give a hand to all of us. Everybody gets a hand. Thank you, everybody. Great job, everybody. And I think that's it. Is there anything else that anybody would like to say before we wrap up? Nope. Okay, great. So awesome. Thank you guys. I appreciate you. We're doing a great job. Keep it up. Go team. Great job, guys. Thank you so much. Awesome. So if you're staying, please stay. And if you're not, see you later. Good night. Bye.